Mr. Chair.
I call Dr. Rajin Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this late hour, it's a pleasure to take a call on part 2 of this particular bill. The bit that I want to talk about, will the chattering classes be quiet and listen? You might learn something. The risk exists. All those 3 members there, just be quiet. It's late in the hour. I know you're tired. You're making noise for nothing. But you're very tired. You're very tired. Just concentrate. Those members sitting at the back you've got no mortgage on financial thinking. Mr. Chairman, I'm particularly interested in the new category, the multi-category appropriation, MCA, and the notion of a single overarching purpose. Because I think there's something quite fundamentally radical about these proposals, particularly as we apply it in the social development area, as I will attempt to do. So it's a commendable idea to bring those 2 things together. And indeed, other members have spoken. The opposition whip just spoke about the accountability in this. And when David Clark was speaking, he raised a fundamental question, and he said it does change the fundamental nature of accountability, just these particular provisions. And I agree with him, it does. And I wonder how will this unpack itself as we go on. Because one reflection one can make, Mr. Chairman, is that over the years, that I'm going to apply this to the social development area, over the years, over decades, we have increased expenditure in social development, and in every decade, problems in social development have increased. We talk about children, talk about families, we talk about that sector of our society that for some reason multiple generations get locked into it. Now, the interpretation that this government has made is that that's all about welfare dependency, and I don't agree with them, of course. But here is an approach that could possibly signal that there is something different that the government anticipates, and if it does, then certainly we support that. But it does present, Mr. Chairman, some major challenges to government and to those who are considered to run programs or deliver services in different ministries and departments that contribute to this single overarching purpose, in this case, social development or development of children. And I wonder how the government has conceptualized this, because here we are in silos, as I've said, and here is an attempt to link the public service together, to join them up a little bit more. We've been trying for probably over a decade now to join them up together. But here is something conceptually different. Now, I wonder, and maybe the Minister and the Chair might want to give us some ideas as to what was the thinking here. Is it anticipated that there will be a different type of conceptualization of the purpose, the overarching purpose that the government wants to achieve? And if they have, then what might that be? They're still chattering in the back there. Obviously, they're not following. They're not following the argument. Those 3, they're not following the argument. They're chattering classes at the back there. But how would they conceptualize this? Is it? And if we applied that to the welfare of children, for example, as a single overarching purpose. So here, government has decided that there is a single overarching purpose to increase the development, if you like, of children, to remove risk, etc. And we know from all of the science that's available to us that there are multiple contributions to that development pathway, the trajectory that children have, whether it's in housing or in health or in income adequacy or in actually physical environments in which children live, the communities in which they live, the neighborhoods in which they live. So if here was a single overarching purpose to improve the outcomes for those children, then one can anticipate that indeed those ministries and those departments, in the ones I've mentioned and a number of others, have actually going to be doing something quite different. Now, Mr. Chairman,
Dr. Rajin Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, because all of the science that I know actually does reflect the fact that the conceptualization of those what contributes to those problems is multiple. There are multiple levels. They are ecological. They're holistic. So whether the minister can tell us that the officials and others have conceptualized this in such a way that there actually will be a different way of doing business, a different way of addressing the needs of children, and rather than leave them in silos. And because at the moment it's just a rough schema, that there will be multi-agency appropriations and there will be a single overarching purpose. But what will make that effective, and this will be fascinating to see, is the conceptualization behind it, how the area in which the single overarching purpose is designed to address, how has that been thought through, whether all of the ministries and departments that contribute to it have actually done the work to contribute to design, if you like, the schema in which they contribute, and then how will those services be delivered. Because this comes back, Mr. Chairman, to what I was saying earlier. We've poured money down these silos, and in the end, social exclusion has actually increased. The problems have not gone away. If this is a different way of doing it, then clearly there has to be some fundamental change in our education system, in our housing system, in the child welfare system, in the social development system, and in our environmental design, how we design our environments in which our community. Will Maggie Barry please listen for a moment? Because I doubt if Maggie Barry is actually following the argument. We're not planting a straw up now at the moment. We're talking about something quite serious. I doubt if those three members have actually understood at all what this is about. I know it's late in the evening. Go back to sleep. You'll probably be much better off tomorrow morning. Now, if Mr. Chairman, if that thinking has taken place, Mr. Chairman, then I believe that this is indeed quite a radical change. Other speakers from this side have actually already indicated that there is a huge promise of what this model gives us, but to actually deliver it is something quite different. Now, of course, the other point, and Chris Hipkins was talking about this earlier, this then, when the reports come back, Mr. Chairman, to select committees and the reporting frameworks that are being used, and that's being changed as well under Part 2, then we actually have a whole different way in select committees interrogating the performance of those ministries and departments that contribute to overarching purpose. And unless, so really this is a radical change. This is, and if it works, and if it's well conceptualized, then it will be effective. But, Mr. Chairman, if some of the light-minded people who have been interjecting are responsible to actually design how these things work, then I doubt very much, Mr. Bennett, any contribution that member might make is actually going to have any effect in this. God help us if that member becomes a minister. Some of the others might. But the ministers have got to be smart enough to demand the kind of conceptual thinking that this very, this simple change actually requires. I beg your pardon? Oh, come on. Does the member think that I'm that stupid? Just take something seriously. Don't be an idiot all your life. Because I don't think that member remembers the bill. And if that was all that member required me to understand about this bill, then I think you're on the wrong. That member is in cuckoo land. Because it's the fundamental clause I'm addressing is the multi-category appropriations, the MCA, and the single overarching purpose. If that member hasn't understood that, then I don't know whether that member has anything useful to say. Take a call. I challenge those three members. Take a call and explain your understanding of this particular provision in this bill. Come on, go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. So, Mr. Chairman, there is something quite serious about these provisions, which we support from this side of the House. I think it's going to change. It could fundamentally change the silo thinking that prevails in many government departments and agencies. And the overarching purposes are a very important way of trying to bring it together. And if that is the intent of these provisions, then I think that's a very good one, and we support it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Dr. David Clark.
Oh, you're idiots.
Mr. Chair,
Idiot.
kia ora, Mr.